workshop. Great. And welcome to everyone to the Rec Innovation Lab here at San Diego Miramar College. We are so excited to have with us today Jennifer Jank, who's an amazing mentor, advisor, and really the best person to talk to about getting through these crazy times that we are in right now with all of the distractions and just insanity all around us. So welcome, Jennifer.
Thanks, Tanya. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course, we're so happy to have you. So we're going to go ahead. If you have any questions, please, you can either put them in the chat, let me know. We'll save some time at the end for questions, or if if you have anything pressing, just let us know, and we will. I'll also let Jennifer know, but the chat is the best place to share those. And so I recommend that everyone turn off your sound and your video. I will pass it over to Jennifer. If you want to go ahead and share your screen and get started, we'll be good to go.
All right. So here we go. Let me put this on the share. Let's try this again. There we go. All right. So we're going to be talking about productivity today. One of my favorite things to talk about. What is it? And the things that actually make you more productive are not always what you think they would be. So that's the unproductive productivity part of it. How to kind of keep your focus and avoid distractions and scheduling your time wisely. So when I'm talking productivity, I'm not talking about being busy. As a matter of fact, busy is not synonymous with being productive. So productivity is not about the hustle and grind. I mean, as new business owners, you're going to be working long hours a lot of the time, but you don't have to work 14 hours a day every single day. What's more important is to figure out like what are the most important things that you need to get done and focus on accomplishing those in a reasonable amount of time, because your brain actually does need a break from time to time. And the best way to be productive is to give yourself that time to rest. And that doesn't necessarily mean, just kind of hanging out in front of Hulu or Netflix with a big giant glass of wine. Actually, being with friends and doing things that you enjoy are ways to give your brain a break from all the tough stuff that you're going to be doing as an entrepreneur. So I'm not talking about trying to cram the 73,000th thing into an hour. What I'm talking about is really figuring out what are the important things that you need to focus on, and giving yourself time to focus on those, really working on what needs to be accomplished as opposed to just what's in front of you. And as a business owner myself, I can tell you a lot of times what's in front of you is going to seem really urgent. And that's when you really have to get back to what your priorities are. So when we're talking about productivity, we're working smarter, not harder. And I know it's kind of a cliche, but if you want to avoid working 14-hour days every single day, you do need to figure out how to work smart and working strategically. And it's really about the Pareto principle, which is, of course, that 20% of your effort is going to get 80% of the results. So you really have to focus on, okay, what are the big rocks? What are the big things that are going to move my business forward? Let me focus on those and not spend quite so much time on the busy work or the stuff that just happens to be in front of me. So we're talking about creating effective results in a shorter period of time. Hopefully not 14-hour days. Hopefully there are going to be days when you can actually work roughly 9 to 5, 10 to 6, go home and enjoy dinner with your family type of day, just from working smarter. And it's going to help you avoid burnout. When you're working and working and working and working, especially at first, before you get some traction, if you're really working and not giving yourself time to rest, not giving yourself time to recharge, it's going to be a lot easier to burn out. You're going to be like, why am I doing this anyway? I'm working and working and nothing's happening. I'm so tired all the time. I'm feeling really stressed. Learning to work smarter, learning to work with your brain is actually going to help you avoid some of the burnout, some of the stress that otherwise you would face. And of course, decreasing stress, because you're going to actually feel like you've been accomplishing things. I know sometimes when I'm giving talks, I walk into the room and I say, How many of you felt like you had a really busy day, you were going and going, doing and doing and doing, and at the end of the day, you looked back and thought, gee, I didn't accomplish a single thing. And when I ask that, hands always go up. And I think, from time to time that is going to happen, but it's more important to avoid that. You can go in, you can accomplish the things that you can reasonably accomplish in a day, go home and feel good about it, and not feel like, okay, you spend all day working and all day working and nothing actually happened. So what's the brain got to do with it? So everything that we talk about is based on the brain. I will say, there are tools available, tech tools available out there, and they will help you around the margins. So for example, if you have a calendar link where you can just have somebody go and book a time on your calendar instead of going back and forth for days on end through email, yes, that is going to make you more productive, because that's going to help you schedule your time better. Having a CRM, a customer relation management system, available instead of trying to log everything on spreadsheets, that's going to help you out. There are a lot of project management tools out there that can kind of help you corral everything, and those, and obviously some bookkeeping, and there are some systems that business owners need to have. So these tools will help you around the margin, but if you really want to avoid 14-hour days every day, you have to learn how to work with your brain, and there's a reason for that. Productivity starts in the brain. So our brains have just, they've been around for a while. They've been around for, 200,000 years, but the way that we work with our brains now is very new. When I was in college in the last century, in the 1990s, we had computer labs because not everybody had their own laptop. So we did have computers, we did work on computers, but it wasn't like we spent our entire lives on screens like we do now. And that wasn't, that long ago. The 1990s, sometimes it feels like a long time ago, but it's not. In terms of human evolution, it's not that long ago. The 8-hour day was based on, some factories, concessions that unions won, so that factory people weren't working for 12 hours a day. They worked for 8, but that doesn't necessarily mean that when you're doing the knowledge work that you're going to need to do as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, an 8-hour day is really kind of irrelevant. What you're really working with is your brain architecture and your brain structure. So technology has moved along a lot faster than our brains have. A lot of technology now is actually detrimental to our brains, doesn't help us at all, makes us more distracted. The fire hose of information is not going to help you be productive. All of these things are happening, and they're happening to brains that are working on, older architecture. I mean, our brains are not computers, but, to use an analogy, we are running, 21st century software on brains that are 100,000, 200,000 years old. The hardware is very old. And so while we've adapted to work with it because human brains are extremely flexible, there are some things that modern culture seems to kind of demand that don't really work that well with our brains. And the human aspects of the brain, and when I say the human aspects, the parts of the brain that differentiate us from other animals. So the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for executive functioning, that's where we make decisions, kind of make the lists of pros and cons. Prefrontal cortex is key to working on spreadsheets. I have 2 cats, and neither of them seem to be particularly proficient with spreadsheets. So it's definitely a human thing. When you're planning, when you're strategizing, all of those things, that uses really kind of the human part of the brain that is more recent. And I cannot stress enough that the brain is not a computer. It's a brain, and our brains are actually far more powerful than computers are, but they do require things like rest, which computers don't. There are things that the human brain can't do, like multitask. Your computer can run my presentation as well as run some spreadsheets in the background, but your brain really can't do that kind of thing. Your brain really needs to focus on one thing at a time. So one of the things that differentiates our brains from computers is the need for rest and recharging. Brains actually need a good 7 to 8, adult brains anyway, teenage brains need even more. They need a good 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. And there's actually a reason for this. It's not just, oh, grandma said so. But it's actually, there are 3 or 4, kind of depending on how you define them, phases of sleep, and you need like 3 to 4 cycles of sleep in a night in order for your brain to do all of these things. So while you're sleeping, your brain is getting rid of some, waste that's built up in the cells, in both the brain cells and the body. If you lift weights, the little micro tears in your muscles that the weights have caused get your body will repair those at night, and that's how you get stronger. That can only take place while you're sleeping. Some of the learning that you've done during the day gets encoded. There's a lot of work that your brain does, your brain and your body do, while you're unconscious, that can only happen while you're sleeping. And that's why you need so much rest, so that all of this can happen. One thing I like to tell people also is that your brain actually needs to play. When we think of play, maybe we think of puppies and kittens and little kids, but actually human brains need a little time to play too, need some unstructured time where they can just kind of, make different connections. This is kind of a boost for creativity. And as entrepreneurs, you will need to be creative, no matter what your field is, no matter what your business is eventually going to be. You do need a little bit of creativity in order to be able to stand out from the crowd. Your brain also needs exercise. I feel that in Southern California, a lot of people kind of associate moving, getting to the gym or moving around with weight loss. And actually, it doesn't really even help with weight loss. It kind of helps with weight maintenance. But more importantly, for entrepreneurs, in order for your brain to function well, you need to have lots of oxygenated blood that goes to your brain so it can think and it can do everything that it needs to do. And the way you get that is from exercise. And if you don't like exercise, you can call it movement. And you don't have to do it at the gym if you don't like the gym. But basically, you have to move around somehow and try to do more of that during the day, not just sitting down, but actually actively getting up and moving. Nutrition, same thing. Your brain needs good quality nutrients. And I think everybody knows what that is, so I'm not going to go into that. Time with others. And yes, this goes for introverts as well. I don't know how many introverts are with us tonight. But introverts and extroverts do need to spend time with other people. This is part of, how we survived as a species, was by banding together in tribes. Hunting and gathering and taking down predators, all of that happened with other people. So our brains need time with other people. And that's why it's important not to work 14 hours a day by yourself, because then you're not getting that social time that your brain actually does need in order to be healthy. And then other things like hobbies, other activities that you enjoy, hobbies, sports, whatever it is. Doing these things, you get a little burst of dopamine, because it's which is a motivating transmitter, which kind of makes you feel good. So again, you're helping to decrease stress, but also kind of filling up your productivity tank for the next day. We only get about 4.5 hours a day really of focused, intense brain concentration, because again, when we were a species on the savannah, there were no spreadsheets, there were no strategies, marketing strategies, or launching strategies for a business. We didn't have any of that. So the brain, humans didn't necessarily need the 8 hours that the factory workers want as a concession. So 4.5 hours is kind of the most you get. So really making the most of those 4.5 hours does require that your brain has been recharged, that you've gotten some time to play in, you've got some oxygenated blood circling around in there, it's been fed good food, you've had time to enjoy the things that you enjoy, you've had time to play. All of these things your brain wants, and is also going to fill up your productivity tank so that you get the max of those 4.5 hours a day. And one of the best ways to really max out that 4.5 hours is to make sure that you are uninterrupted while you're doing this focus work. And you're going to need to take breaks from time to time. The brain can only consciously focus for about 45 to 50 minutes. So I have like a half day productivity workshop, and I actually design it. It's 4 hours, but I design it so that each of the hours there's only like 50 minutes of thinking, and then everybody goes and has a break for 10 minutes, and that's because that's how the brain works best. So every time you get interrupted, right, you get pulled away from your focus, it takes some time to get back. And some studies have shown that it takes like 23 minutes to get back to work after you've been interrupted. So if you have social media, let's say, enabled on your phone, and you're working away, and all of a sudden, ding, and you pull up, and somebody has liked a post. It could take up to 23 minutes for you to get back to where you were on your focus. So not working super smart to allow things to kind of pull you away. The other thing about social media is, and all of the platforms, will tell you this, they've actually been designed to be addicted, right? They're designed to work with your dopamine signaling system because, the more they can keep you on their site, the more ads they can put in front of you, and the more money they can get from their advertisers. Social media, the business of social media is not, it's not social. There's nothing social about it. It's to make money off you, which is fine, but you just need to know that that's what it's doing, so that you can limit your time on social media. One of the biggest wastes of time, one of the biggest focus distractions is your phone. So putting it face down is one way, so you're not kind of, every time it flashes, you don't see it. I recommend actually that you put your phone, in a different room when you're trying to focus. One other thing that you can do is to disable notifications. So certainly social media notifications, when you're trying to focus, should never be on. One thing that I often talk about that nobody really wants to do, but it's very effective, is actually to disable your email notifications. I was in corporate America for 20 years before I launched this business, and I can tell you that I've had my email notifications turned off for about 20 years, because I have always felt that, if you want me to do something, you want me to focus on, financial plans or whatever, then don't disturb me with emails. I'm not going to answer anybody's email. And you can actually have an autoresponder that lets people know, hey, got your email. I only check emails during this certain period of time, so I will get back to you, but I have received your email. Yeah.
I have a question, JJ, really quickly. And I saw some questions in the chat. I just wanted to interrupt really quickly. I hate to do this, especially when we're talking about interrupting, but
That's okay.
But the question was about those interruptions. So if we're working for 45 minutes and then taking a break, would it take us then 23 minutes to get back into the swing of things when we take those breaks? And is that, is that the best thing to do?
I can usually tell, like, for me, when I'm starting to hit that point, because your brain is going to feel like, if I'm writing, I'll start to like fat finger the keys, or I'll be reading something and I'll realize that I've read the same sentence 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
And can no longer like, I have no idea what the sentence said. So at that point, you're not focusing anymore, because your brain's kind of like, need a break, need a break, need a break. That's a good question though. So I'm really, talking more about like when you're in your 45 minutes, let's say you're in your 25th minute, so you're really still able to concentrate, and your notifications go off, and that's going to pull you away for 23 minutes. But if you get to a point where you're no longer focusing just because your brain's kind of fried anyway, it's not the same kind of interruption as when you're like focused.
At that point, it's worth checking out.
Yeah. You've lost focus anyway, so
right
because your brain's kind of like, oh, stick a fork in me. And then you go and you get some water, or go to the bathroom, play with your dog, go for a walk, and that kind of allows your brain to reset, so that when you come back after your 10 or 15 minute break, now you're like ready to go focus again and do that deep dive again.
Thank you.
Yeah, so emails, and a lot of times, I mean, and we've kind of been trained, if any of you were in corporate America, we kind of all have been trained that, we're supposed to respond to emails right away, but do you really need to? Most of the time, no. Most of the time, people just want to know that you got the email. And so your autoresponder will just kind of take care of that. The other thing that reading and responding to emails at a specified time does for you is that your brain gets really tired when you're switching back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So, so if you're working on a presentation and then you answer an email and then, you work on something else and then you go back to the presentation and then you do an email. And then when you're doing all of these things all over the place, it's actually very tiring for the brain. The brain likes to do one thing at a time.
I remember. Oh, sorry about that. I remember a workshop that you gave about this very concept about switch tasking between the two. And I think about that all the time. We're not really multitasking. We're just making it worse for ourselves, right?
Exactly. And people talk about multitasking like it's a thing, but it isn't, because again, brain is not a computer. And even though it might feel like we're multitasking, and a lot of times it does, what's really happening up in your brain is that your brain's just switching back and forth rapidly between these two tasks. And when I'm talking about multitasking, I just want to be clear here. I'm not talking about the fact that entrepreneurs have to wear many hats. So you do have to do marketing, and you have to do the financials, and you have to do some client delivery, probably, at least at first. So there are different things that you need to be doing, but when I'm talking about multitasking, I'm specifically talking about trying to do two tasks at the same time, which is not possible because your brain's just switching back and forth really fast. And not only is it switching back and forth really fast, that's also wearing it out. So that productivity tank that you filled up by eating the good food and moving your behind in some kind of exercise and talking to your friends and family, when you start switching tasks back and forth, you start draining that productivity tank. So you might not get your full 4.5 hours because you're switching back and forth between things. So your brain really likes to kind of do one thing at a time, and then maybe it comes to its kind of break, and then you go and do something else. But in that 45 to 50 minutes that you've got, focus on one thing at a time. So work on your business plan. Take a break.
We did have one question here from Ruth. Do you mind if we ask that question? Go ahead, Ruth.
I just wanted to, as I'm listening to what you're saying, I don't know if I'm so used to doing different tasks, like I literally have to be doing two or three things at the same time, because otherwise I get bored or I get sleepy, or I actually feel like I'm not concentrating. So like if I'm at home, I have to be doing laundry, I'm working on a task, and I'm like taking the trash out. Like, is it, I got my brain used to it? Is that healthy? I mean,
so I would say a couple of
but
things.
I've been doing this for forever.
Yeah, I mean, so when I'm talking about multitasking, I'm really talking about cognitively demanding things. So things like laundry, and things like that are not cognitively demanding. So I'm talking more about, like, if you were trying to do a spreadsheet and respond to an email that needed an actual response at the same time. And
I do that too. Like I have like multiple windows open, and I'll be working on a spreadsheet, on the slide deck, on the emails. So I mean, but that's why I'm not at home. And as I'm here right now, I'm doing the same thing. I'm sorry.
You would actually be more productive if you didn't do that. And I think a lot of it is that we're so used to being distracted, because that's kind of how modern culture is, right? It's very distracting. So I totally get it. But at the same time, if you were able to focus on one thing for a little bit longer, and then go to a different task, you'd be less tired at the end of the day because you wouldn't have worn out, kind of the productivity aspects of your brain. So that's why like time blocking is really good. So you can, for example, just set aside a time when you're going to respond to emails. And that even though all the emails have, probably all the emails have different topics to them, it's still like one task because you're reading and responding to emails. And that's something that's kind of like a task that is different from working on a spreadsheet, which is a different task.
So I will send out all the students, I'll send you, or I'll put it in Canvas. I have a multitasking myth assignment, just a little brief things that shows you the myth of multitasking and the benefits of focusing in one thing at a time. And I'll send that out to everyone. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot that you had that. That was excellent. I did that myself, and I was like, oh yeah, look, it's proof. Okay, let me just see here. All right. So scheduling wisely. So again, matching up the time that you're best doing this focused work and, the important work that is going to move your business forward with the time that is best for you to do it. And that's called sleep chronotype. Prioritizing what you need to do, a work routine. And then there's, morning and bedtime routines, which we may or may not get to today. And they're not super important, but it's something that you can, consider doing. And this is when I give my talks, people love this because I have an interactive, quiz that I do like when I go into companies and we talk about lions, bears, wolves, and dolphins. And it's good to know when your specific time is. So for example, I'm a bear. I get up more or less with the sun, I don't exactly go to bed with the sun because it goes down early in the winter, but 9 to 5 actually works pretty well for bears. And a good focus time, I've shifted mine a little bit. So my good focus time is like 9 to 1. Lions are kind of earlier in the day, and you may have heard productivity so-called gurus talking about waking up at 4:30 in the morning to get your stuff done. And if you're a lion, that'll work. The rest of us, it does not work. So ignore that advice. If 4:30 in the morning is too hard, because we're not all lions, and waking up that early in the morning does not work for everybody. But it's also nice for everybody to kind of do this, because then, you can see, especially if you have your own business and you're looking at your staff and you say, oh, I have a whole bunch of lions and bears, which means that morning is their really good time to focus. As a supervisor, as a boss, I should not be interrupting them with meetings. Like I should not be scheduling 10 a.m. meetings, because that's when my morning people should be actually doing their work. Maybe I shouldn't probably be scheduling any meetings anyway, or I should be minimizing the number of meetings that I schedule, but certainly not at 10 in the morning when when all of my staff is going to be busy doing their important work. So you can kind of see, lions, early bird, bears, kind of about half the population are bears. Wolves are the ones that kind of like to work a little bit later in the day. Dolphins have difficulty sleeping, so a good focus time for them is kind of between 10 and 2, not too early, not too late. And if you've been in business for a while, you probably kind of know like when it's easiest for you to get the really important work done. It's also really important to prioritize, kind of what I talked about at the beginning, which is, what is really going to get results? What is important for me as a business owner? What is going to move my business forward? That's what I need to focus on. And the reality is there are so many hours in a day. So, you can't really work on that much stuff. I talk to people that have to-do lists that are, hundreds of things long, and they can't get started, because where do you start when you have 100 things to do? It's impossible. And they're also the ones that typically are actually putting in little tasks just so they can cross them off, because they can't get to everything. So being smart about what the priorities are, again, you want to do the stuff that's going to move the business forward, not just what's in front of you, not just busy work, not, if you're crossing stuff off, if you're making up stuff to put on a to-do list just to have something to cross it off, you need to work on your to-do list. Make it reasonable, something that you can actually achieve, as opposed to just, a ton of stuff. and then, so here we have like kind of 4 startup entrepreneur tasks. Join a chamber of commerce or a networking association, identify your target client / avatar, hire a social media assistant, find out where your potential clients hang out. Does anybody want to give a shot at figuring out what your first priority should be? All right.
So I was going to say they can also put it in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, that might be easier. Feel free to put it in the chat as well. So these are, I can tell you that the order that these are in are definitely not the order of how you should how you should prioritize these startup tasks.
So if you want to put in the chat, which you think the entrepreneur should do first of these 4, I will. I'll go ahead and read them from the chat.
Okay. So do we have any guesses in the chat there?
We do. We have several guesses, and they are almost all identify your target.
Good. That is correct. And what do you think the next one should be after you identify your target client / avatar?
If you want to put it in the chat as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and this one might be a little trickier. It might not be.
So we see a few now. Find out where the clients hang out.
Yep, that's right. All right. And then how about number 3? What's the third? So the first one is identify your target client. The second one is to figure out where they hang out.
Right. If we put it in the chat.
And I know I put join a chamber of commerce, and honestly, that's not going to be the right place for some businesses. It is the right place for some businesses, not the right place for other businesses.
Yeah. So we do see several now, the networking or join the chamber of commerce.
Yeah. Which leaves the hire social media assistant as the last one. Exactly right. And your social media assistant, probably for most people, it's not going to be your first hire anyway. You might have a VA, you might hire a bookkeeper first, you might hire somebody to actually, deliver the service first. But this way, kind of thinking about, all right, I've got all these things to do. So let me, kind of rank them. What is my first priority? What's first going to move my business forward? Obviously, figuring out who you should go after is going to move your business forward. And then when we're talking about scheduling wisely, sometimes having a work routine, and I sometimes when I talk to people, I hear, well, I don't want to have a routine. Routine is boring, and true. But having some things where you really don't have to think about them, they just happen, is actually going to give you a lot more room for doing interesting things, being creative when you've kind of nailed down other things. So I used to, when I was working in corporate America, I used to lay my clothes out the night before. So it was one less thing, because again, as a bear, I'm not at my best in the morning. So I don't want to have to make big decisions in the morning. So I'll just do it at night, and then everything's ready to go. I don't have to think about it. So in the morning or earlier in the day, kind of depending on when you get to work, kind of reviewing, making sure that you're doing your concentrated work at the right time for you, which is that sleep chronotype stuff that we were talking about. Making sure that you're taking regular breaks. As a business owner, one of the things, especially when you get started, is you're probably going to be spending a lot of time working in your business. So you're going to be doing the delivery probably, at least for some period of time. But that means that you've got to spend time working on the business. You've got to spend time doing the marketing or figuring out, who your target client is, all that kind of stuff. So it is a balance for the business owner, because you can't just be doing all the work all the time. You do have to work on the business. And being smart and working with your brain means batching tasks together. So doing all your emails at periodic times of day. I mean, I actually know some people who they'll go days without checking their emails. I personally am not there. I check my email, once or twice a day, although I do typically get to work, and actually, because I'm a bear and my day starts around 9, I will actually do a bunch of work before I ever check an email. Because again, I have an autoresponder. People know I check my emails only at certain times of the day. some of that's kind of training your clients and vendors too, to just say, look, I'm going to be busy working on my business. That means I'm not checking my emails when they come in, but I will, check them at some point. And batching other tasks together. So if you have a whole bunch of, let's say you're creating content for your webpage, or you're creating content for your blog, you can actually just spend a day and spend, a few hours and just, batch it out, just, do it all at once. You don't have to wait until the next week to have your next blog post. You can just do a bunch at a time. And again, batching them together, they're going to be different topics. Probably you're going to write them differently, but it's all writing content, and then maybe all editing your content, or scheduling your content. All these tasks, these similar tasks can be batched together. And then at the end of the day, it's nice to have a ritual to say, okay, I'm done with the day, I'm going home. I don't drink alcohol, but I will have a little mocktail hour sometimes. It's just kind of like, all right, I'm done for the day. Now is the time that I play with my pets or spend time with my friends or do my hobbies. I am separating my work day from my personal business. It's also helpful to identify 3 priorities for the next day, because again, that way, especially, some people, even business owners, struggle with procrastination. And one way to kind of get rid of that is to say, okay, here's what I got to do tomorrow. And then you walk in the next day and you're like, okay, I know exactly what I need to do because I wrote it down the night before. And you can also straighten up and kind of put things away, whatever. I mean, again, you don't really have to do this, but it is kind of helpful to say, okay, here's the end of the day. I'm going to straighten up the papers. Maybe I'm going to lock away sensitive client documents every day, depending on what your business is. So that's kind of a good way to think about work routines. You can also have a morning routine, and you don't have to necessarily do all of these things, but these might be things that kind of get you going, put you in a good frame of mind so that you're ready to kind of tackle the day. Also an evening routine. And one thing that I do want to point out, because again, this is your enemy. When you want to go to sleep, this is your enemy. Put it down, charge it in another room. You don't need to be checking emails at 11 o'clock at night. You don't need to be scrolling through your social media feed at 11 o'clock at night when you're trying to go to bed, or go to bed at 11 or 12. You can have fun time depending on how you want to define fun. That can be with yourself, that can be with a partner or partners, it's up to you. Meditation, journaling, all these kinds of things, really getting your body ready for slumber. That's going to help you get that 7 to 8 hours that you need. Screens emit blue light, and that messes with your melatonin, tells your body, oh, we're actually in the middle of the day. It's not time to get ready for bed, because that's what blue light kind of tricks your body into thinking. That's why the screens are so dangerous. And you can, I have a pair of blue light blocking glasses, and they're, better than nothing probably, but really putting the screens away, an hour or so before bed is really one of the best ways that you can get ready for sleep and have that unproductive productivity time. It's going to make you more productive the next day. All right. And here are some additional resources. These are, books. If you want to read some books, Thinking Fast and Slow kind of talks about the brain architecture. Deep Work also talks a little bit about brain architecture, why we only get the 4.5 hours. The Elephant in the Room is all about our social needs. And then there's a couple of other books that are kind of fun and kind of, help you learn some of the things that brains do, which may or may not be helpful when you're trying to be productive. And a way to contact me, that's my website. You can also find me on LinkedIn. Happy to connect. If you type in Jennifer JJ Jank, my name will come up. And now I'm ready for questions, if we have some more questions.
Thank you so much. Oh, sorry about that echo there. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was a great workshop, and very, very timely. I don't know about everybody else here, but I needed that so much. These were things I've heard before for the most part, but gosh, I needed to hear them again now. So thank you. Thank you. So I do see some questions in the chat, or some comments in the chat. Anybody have, well, I see a question about tips on this huge distraction, and I think it's the kitty cats. Anything helps?
Yeah, cats can be difficult. Mine actually tend to sleep during my focus time, which is nice for me. Although they do like to jump on Zooms. I mean, your best defense is kind of to close the door if they want to bug you while you're trying to focus.
Absolutely. Any other questions from the audience there?
Not a question. Tanya, this is Steve. JJ, I just want to say thank you. I took about a page and a half of notes. And I'm a guy that, as a solopreneur, you're the smartest and dumbest person in the room at all times, right?
That's true.
So I've learned, time blocking, chunking, and even the simple example of email autoresponder. It's going to free up my mind and time. So thank you very much for a wonderful presentation.
Oh, I'm glad you got something out of it. I'm glad you got something that you can kind of take away and put into place right away. So great. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the audience? So I will say this, that we do now have Jennifer's contact information, which I do encourage you all to connect. She's a wonderful resource, wonderful resource to have. I see there's a couple of questions, but if anybody doesn't get them in right away, you can obviously reach out to Jennifer, reach out to me. I'd be happy to help. But we do have a question here from Ruth. Ruth, did you want to go ahead and ask the question?
Very quick. So what about, I need to sometimes work and I get up around 11, 12, and I find myself going to sleep after finishing a task at 2, 3 in the morning, because otherwise I will not be able to sleep. It's like something I have to do. And unless I do it, then I can go back to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times, the brain does not like to have unfinished business. And that's why a lot of times people, especially business owners, will lie awake at, 2 o'clock in the morning, like, oh my God, did I do this thing? So one way to combat that is actually to journal it, or to, write it down. And it's better. I will tell you, I know everybody's, kind of used to being on their phones, but there actually is a hand-brain connection when you write things. So it may be better to actually write it down, like with a pen and pencil, pen and paper, pencil and paper, and actually write down what it is that you need to do, because that will actually, once your brain knows that it's kind of like out and you've got it, in a place where it knows that it can get it, it's less likely to keep bothering you, because it wasn't finished. So even though it's not finished when you write it down, your brain's like, okay, I got it. It's written down. I have done something with this. And so therefore I don't have to, be worried about it because I've got it written down. So I would highly recommend, trying that for some of these things.
Yeah, great advice. Thank you so much. So if there are no other questions, there are lots of comments in there about how amazing this workshop is, and I wholeheartedly
Well, I'm glad
agree.
everybody enjoyed it.
Me too. So thank you all for coming. And again, the workshop will be available for all of you to access on our YouTube channel within a couple of days. And
Yes,
thank you all for coming.
thank you.
We'll
Thank
see
you,
everybody again
JJ.
soon. We'll be here on Thursday
Can't
in
wait to
person at
meet
the
with
rec
you.
if you want to come.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank
Everyone.
you.